Because I did ask about the Red Queen, and maybe I don't have the story right in my head, man.
So you don't.
How did that come to be?
Okay. Same situation. So I don't think I told you part two. Part one was, again, I was in my Seattle space next to Guitar Center, and
Hmm.
I was very aggressive, and I got word that there was a billionaire coming in daily, and just one of those, three of those, four of those, a guy
Hmm.
who decided he was going to collect guitars. So
Hmm.
he would just walk in, and he didn't have a lot of knowledge. I don't think he was a player, and he was just like, "What do I need to buy?" And they were like, "Wow, you should buy a PRS Dragon, 59
Yeah.
anniversary, Les Paul, sure, blah 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 blah." Um, I gave one of the sales. This I don't think I told you this, but I gave one of the salespersons. I gave him $1,000 cash
Hmm.
in
Okay.
my shop. I said, dude, here's $1,000. I want you to bring that guy into my shop. And so he's like, okay. And so he brought him into my shop, and I met him. And he's he's a smart businessman.
Hmm.
He's not a touchy feely guy.
Hmm.
Okay. He's just not. And there are a lot of, I have a lot of wealthy clients that are. He is not.
Hmm.
And so he came in, all right, nice to meet you. What do you have to say? And I was like, well, I understand you're collecting guitars. I have these cool things. I work with these rock stars. And he was not into the rock culture at all.
Hmm.
Um, and he goes, well, why don't you show me some pictures? And he looked at my pictures. He's like, no, 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 no. It was okay. Well, it's nice to meet you. And that was it. He was going to walk out. And I said, well, and again, a light bulb, and I just pulled this out of air. This was the moment of conception. I
Hmm.
said,
Hmm.
well, there is the Red Queen, but it's $50,000. And he just stopped. And he turns around and goes, what's the Red Queen? And I said, the Red Queen is a acoustic guitar that's made out of 50,000 pieces. He goes, I'll take it. So that was, so that was it. The
But
sale
there
went
was,
down. Just,
but there
there
was
was
no
no
Red Queen.
real,
There was no
there was no
idea
Red
for Red.
Queen.
It was
There,
total like
there was
spur of the moment, right?
there was zero. There was no concept whatsoever of the Red Queen.
Yeah.
So I instantly went to the history books, and I stole the wedge pattern from a guitar maker in Israel. His name is
Hmm.
Boaz, and
Hmm.
he made a
Hmm.
guitar out of a pocket knife, and he did these wedges. And then I was a big fan of Richard Snyder, who developed the Kasha guitar with Dr. Kasha in the
Yes.
70s and the 80s. Had the wedge
Hmm.
offset sound hole, the wedge bridge, a lot
Yep.
of asymmetrical areas going on.
Hmm.
And then I went to the Baroque period, and I started looking at a bunch of lutes on how they designed the back of their necks and the sides and
Hmm.
this and that. And came up with the back and the sides and the concept of this guitar, which was a alternating bloodwood and flame maple instrument,
Hmm.
Kasha design, offset sound hole, wedge bridge, and then I was going to do a bunch of small, checkerboard pieces to make the neck. And then I went to another artist Sean Reeves, and I said, "Hey, can you draw me just your most insane inlay? It goes from the very top all the way to the bottom. It's got
Hmm.
to have Alice in Wonderland concepts, Red Queen."
Hmm. Hmm.
And he's like, "Yeah." So we put it together, and I built that guitar in my little apartment on this little bench with little hand tools. But before, this is the story that you don't know.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Before he gave me his deposit,
Yeah.
he sent a secretary person down to my shop. He said, "Hi, Randy, I'm working with blah blah blah. Here's the
Hmm.
contract for the Red Queen, and here's a check." And so I looked over
Hmm.
the contract, and I said, "Oh, there's a mistake here in the contract. It says that I'm only to make one Red Queen and never make a second." I said, "I specifically told him that he was going to be getting one of 10." And that was one of
Hmm.
my ideas when he came into my shop. I said, the Red Queen, I said, I'm only making 10 and you can get number one. And so he was like, oh, I'm interested in that. So in the contract, it said you are not allowed to make 10 instruments. You can only make number one. And so I said, well, I need to clarify this before I can sign this contract. So I emailed him and he emailed me back. He said, he's like, don't worry about that. That's just a typo. Nothing to worry about. Just go ahead. I don't care. Make as many as you want. I just want number one. So when I finished the Red Queen and I delivered it, he called me up. And again, I just wanted to express that I still like the guy, and he's taught me a lot, and he purchased more instruments from me. I have a lot of respect for the guy. He's a great teacher. But the lesson that I learned that day is he called me up and he said, I really love this Red Queen. You did a really good job. But I just want to remind you about the contract we signed and that you are not to make another Red Queen. And I was really mad. I was like, well, and so we had a little heated discussion on the phone and he was just like, contract's a contract. Deal with it, buddy. So when I hung up the phone, I said, you know what? I don't even want to make a Red Queen, but I'll make a black king and I'll make a white rabbit and I'll make a blue bat and I'll make the whole fucking series of Wonderlands based on all these characters. And so that's how the whole idea was born.
Yeah. Great. I did not know that. Oh, carry on.
I just finished another one for him last year, a white queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I did not know that second part of the story. However, the first part of the story is really the part that I wanted to hear. It's that I wanted you to tell, because I've heard it. It is the idea that someone was there, they were going to walk, and you're like, one last chance, and you threw the idea.
I hit $1,000 on the line, So
I'm not going still, nonetheless. Randy, I just love that you threw out that idea, and then on top of that, you had to deliver a guitar that was believably $50,000, and you did.
It cost me $50,000 to make that guitar, if not more. I stressed over that instrument. It was beautiful. I thought. I mean, you've seen it, right? Yeah.
It's the reason I contacted you in the first place. I saw a picture of that guitar and I said, "What the hell is this? And why don't I know this guy?" Because I thought I already knew all the amazing guitar makers that were alive. The ones that were doing something really unusual was sort of my MO already at this point in time. And so when I saw that guitar and that I had never, honestly, I don't think I had heard your name. I didn't know who you were at that point in time. And maybe even my wife found it on Instagram. I'm not sure who found it. Someone showed me the picture. But that was the reason that you and I know each other at this point in time, was the images of that guitar. Yeah. Thank you for watching and listening. You can find more episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts. And a special thanks to those who support us on Patreon. It's your support that enables us to do this work.